sizameni ukwenza ngokuhle sisaziphilela lo mhlaba. Make sizameni ukwenza ngokuhle sisaziphilela lo mhlaba.
To never stop our goodness, even if seconds are ticking, indicating the end. To never give up on Allah's reward. To never give up on His mercy. And never get demotivated, irrespective of what the surrounding conditions may be. To stay motivated, to push ourselves to the highest upper limits. It's a motive of our religion. Despite being weak, human beings have capabilities that go beyond our perceptions and expectations of ourselves. And those capabilities are strengthened with tough conditions that we go through on a day-to-day basis. This might sound contradicting to the fact that we are insignificant to what we are supposed to accomplish. We are insignificant in the sense that our organs are weak and our lifespan is limited. We are insignificant in the sense that without unique values or purpose, we are worthless. We are insignificant in the sense that few conditions negating our existential essence, we lose consciousness and track. We are insignificant in comparison to materialistic existential elements. However, adhering to religious rulings and teachings is what really adds up to our ultimate value. The merge between elements that contribute to strengthening societies is what we are ought to figure out. For many, living in comfort and stability is a sign of love from God. And living in tough circumstances is wrath, anger, and punishment, to a point in which some might attribute this belief to ones who are living in tough circumstances. And Allah said it, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِشَرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ fitna. Goodness and ease and comfort are tests as well. An intriguing discussion is who is better in the sight of God, the rich obedient or the poor obedient? One who's living in ease or one who's living in difficulty, and both are obedient. Who's better? That's a discussion that we can go forth on in future terms. It's beautiful and nourishing to see life examples of individuals trying their best to present Islamic values in the most appealing of manners. It's beautiful to see extremely well cared for Islamic symbols. And that certainly is a real life implementation of the saying of God, ذَلِكَ وَمَن يُعَظِّمْ حُرُمَاتِ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِن تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. To build a mosque and perfect each and every aspect associated that has to do with it, and call it after a Sahabi, a righteous predecessor, nourishing and reminding all passers-by and attendees of how amazing that man was. It's certainly putting the above verse in action. But it's destructive to learn that buildings without values are deprived of the essence. To create the optimum environment for worship involves catering and caring for values in human beings. This is done by making our life centered around Islamic legislations and rulings and not the opposite. Our timings are centered around prayer times. Football courts, gyms, basketball courts have Islamic obligations in mind. The way the Sahaba used to measure time by a number of verses, they would say the time between us having suhoor and prayer was the time it would take to recite 50 verses, for example. The call to prayer is the break from sports activities, and timings are based on the adhan, around the adhan. Like, for example, I'm meeting someone, tell them I'd meet you right after Maghrib, just to nourish and make sure that our lives revolve around prayers, because they are the pillar of our deen, of our religion. It doesn't work that mosques are built and individuals within are throwing each other with disbelief, literally. What a catastrophe. It does not work that criteria of getting one pushed further is committing actions, huge actions that death penalty is associated with. Have you done something that is punishable by law, by murder? You have? Oh, you're a great person. You're the man. You get all the position, you get all the power, you get basically everything that you ask for. You did not? Just pretend you did. Just pretend you did. And we will certainly give you something. You probably get all the money. You did not? Too bad, too bad, too bad. Just don't say anything, just stay silent. We'll let you go, okay? You did not in calling for Allah's rulings to take place? Harm is not education. Harm, in best cases, is sins. In best cases. Any harm that has to do with a human being, it's never forgiven unless we seek human beings' forgiveness for it. Again, disassociating actions from religious rulings is a huge issue. Harm is not allowed Islamically. If a perceived Islamic legislation is incorrect, then correcting it will be through evidence, proof, and never harm. If you think anyone is wrong, educate, teach. Why are they wrong with proof and evidence? How can we create the merge between pure Islamic legislations and advancement and implementing anything that has to do with our essence of being? If that's how our mindset is, someone calling to Allah, just put him down, just make sure that he has absolutely no life. I have to be very blurred, I have to be very honest, despite the fact that honesty might hurt in a lot of times. And I really intend that that pain isn't a let trigger. Hopefully. When we see Islamic countries focusing on gatherings that don't directly contribute to our values in any way, shape, or form, that might be in a lot of times indecent at the first place, that certainly have extremely negative effects on our souls and bodies to begin with. And exerting all the necessary means to beautify and fancify all means of it to make it appealing to others. While just right few kilometers away, and by the way, this is in Islamic countries, you see such events taking place, you see a significant number of attendees and all sorts of making this very, very, very appealing for attendees. Quran Memorization Center, barely able to eat.
سبحان الله هنيئا لكم. أنا أستحي من الشيخ يبغاني أدخل كل غرفة وأصورها لكن والله العظيم يعني لا جديد سوى ما رأيته. نسأل الله اللطف والعون لهم. ادعوا لهم يا جماعة.
الظالمين لهم عذاب أليم الظالمين المشركين بما كسبوا وهو واقع بهم الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات في روضات الجنات.
When Islamic countries' constitutions are not based on the Book of Allah, nor is it based on the Sahih Hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, of Islamic countries. When Islamic countries are setting legislative rulings under the umbrella of organization, rather personal preferences, contaminated and ingrained, making them biased to personal preferences and leaking in the form of misorganization, complication for the sake of attaining bribes, recognition, or empowering personal arrogance, greed, and all dirty heart diseases within lower level management, deployment, and implementation bodies. When Islamic countries' legislative authorities set rulings not on basis of what goes with or against Islamic rulings, rather what goes along worldly desires and pursuits of legislative authorities' representatives' desires at times, or personal preferences of individuals in power. When double standards as clear as the sun on numerous departments within national structures, and when rulings are legislated and non-generalized to all societal classes, when Muslim speakers, imams, and those who call for Allah are oppressed, not allowed to conduct the lessons that our nations totally need to know what to do and what not to do. When we have non-Muslim communities living with us, we happen to meet on a daily basis and have different interests and activities that gather us, and the thought of presenting Islam never even crosses our minds. If Allah ever guides a person through us, we certainly get the reward of each and every good deed they do. Presenting Islam does not have to be explaining each and every minute detail. That which we know in a lot of times is good to go as long as it's relevant.
Sizameni ukwenza ngokuhle sisaziphilela lo mhlaba. Make sizameni ukwenza